Welcome to the Arsenal Report, and remember, subscribe. The deal is subject to the completion of regulatory processes. Shockwaves in North London, Rodrygo and Šeško. Join Arsenal character count, approximately 6,030. It was a humid night in Madrid when the first whisper dropped. Rodrygo Goes, one of Real Madrid's crown jewels, had been spotted at a private dinner with two men unknown to the Spanish press. But someone recognized the older gentleman, Kia Joorabchian, an agent with deep ties to the Premier League. The second man? None other than Arsenal's head of football operations. No one could believe it at first. Rodrygo, at 24, was a Champions League winner. Why would he ever leave Madrid? But beneath the surface, tension simmered. Madrid had signed Mbappé and Endrick. Game time would vanish. Rodrygo wasn't leaving because he was unhappy. He was leaving because he refused to become a bench ornament. And Arsenal? They weren't chasing shadows anymore. Arteta'S project had evolved from hope to hunger. They needed killers, winners, big names to match big ambition. At the same time, in Leipzig, another move brewed. Benjamin Šeško, the towering Slovenian striker, had lit up the Bundesliga. His release clause? 65 million euros. Arsenal had flirted with him before, but this time they acted. By the time Fabrizio Romano tweeted "Red Circle Arsenal have activated Šeško's clause," it was already done. The 21-year-old forward had passed his medical at London Colney at 7 a.m, completely undetected. It was when both deals leaked within an hour, Rodrygo on a loan to buy and Šeško permanent, that football media went into meltdown. Sky Sports called it a window-defining double swoop. L'Équipe headlined, "Arsenal dreaming bigger than ever." And Arsenal Twitter, pure chaos. Compilation videos, tactics threads, even a tattoo of Rodrygo in an Arsenal kit popped up. But behind the scenes it hadn't been smooth. Real Madrid had resisted. Florentino Perez didn't want to lose Rodrygo, but the player's agent presented a ruthless ultimatum. Loan him now, or sell him next summer for less. Arsenal agreed to a £10 million loan fee, with a £70 million buy clause for 2026. Madrid retained a 15% sell-on clause. Everyone walked away satisfied. Quiet, precise, ruthless. Arteta was already planning. With Šeško's presence in the box and Rodrygo's flair from wide, the front three would become Martinelli, Šeško, Rodrygo with Saka and Ødegaard feeding them. But the pressure was on. The fans were ecstatic, but expectations skyrocketed. "Now we have to win the league," one supporter posted. Edu, smiling in his office, simply said, "That's the point." Rodrygo's unveiling broke viewership records on Arsenal's YouTube channel. In the video, he walked through Highbury House, jersey in hand, and said in near-perfect English, Šeško's first interview was more reserved, but no less bold. Even rival fans admitted Arsenal had arrived. These weren't prospects, they were power moves. Training sessions were electric. Rodrygo danced past defenders like he was in Madrid still. Šeško bullied centre-backs twice his age. Arteta smiled more than usual. In the Emirates dressing room, Gabriel Jesus laughed as he watched Šeško rifle shot after shot into the top corner. "He's not a kid," he said to Zinchenko. "He's a beast." The season opener was against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Rodrygo started wide right, Šeško up top. The world watched. In the 14th minute, Declan Rice sprayed a ball out wide. Rodrygo took it on the bounce, cut inside, and bent a left footer into the top corner. The away fans exploded. Then in the 71st, Saka squared low across the box. Šeško met it with a thunderous one-touch finish. 2-0. Game over. Arteta clenched his fist on the touchline. Edu, watching from the director's box, nodded. That night, Arsenal fans partied in pubs, parks, and on social media. They weren't just dreamers anymore. They were contenders. Titans. And it had all started with a whisper in Madrid and a clause in Leipzig. Another news. Bernardo Silva to Arsenal? To leave Manchester City, where he had won everything there was to win? Surely not. But behind the scenes, something real was brewing. Arsenal weren't just dreaming, they were planning, quietly, boldly. Mikel Arteta, once Pep Guardiola's protégé and now his most dangerous rival, had never forgotten the quiet genius of Bernardo Silva. He had coached him, trained with him, watched him break lines and create space out of nothing. Arteta didn't just admire Bernardo, he understood him. Bernardo, now 30, had just returned from another long season with City. Though still brilliant, he had begun to feel the routine closing in. Trophies no longer gave him goosebumps. The thrill was fading. When Arteta called, the conversation hit deeper than expected. "You can still be a legend here," Arteta said. "At Arsenal, you won't be part of a system, you'll be the soul of it." It wasn't an easy decision. Manchester City had been home for 7 years. Bernardo had been instrumental in their historic treble, their invincible run, and their rise to European dominance. But something about Arteta's vision, his passion, his clarity, stirred something new inside him. Jorge Mendes, Bernardo's agent, started making calls. Arsenal were ready to spend £65 million, with performance bonuses bringing it closer to £75 million. For a player of Bernardo's age, it was audacious. But Arsenal saw it as an investment in leadership, vision, and artistry. Guardiola, ever the pragmatist, didn't stand in the way. "He's earned the right to choose," Pep told the press. "If he wants to write a new chapter, he does so with my blessing." On July 14, 2025, Fabrizio Romano dropped the bomb. "Here we go! Bernardo Silva to Arsenal, confirmed." The Arsenal fanbase exploded. For years, they had waited for a marquee signing, someone who wasn't just talented, but proven. Someone who could guide Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, and Gabriel Martinelli with wisdom and grace. Bernardo was that player. He arrived at Colney in a dark grey suit, understated but elegant, just like his playing style. Cameras followed his every move as he shook hands with staff, walked the training pitch, and posed with his new shirt. Number 20. A number Arsenal fans would soon revere. In his unveiling interview, Bernardo was candid. "I came here because I believe in the project," he said. "This club has hunger, identity, and youth. I want to help shape the next chapter of Arsenal's story." The media called it a coup. Some called it madness. But the effect was immediate. Training sessions became sharper. Young players watched Bernardo's every move. How he turned with a single touch. How he communicated in whispers and gestures. How he demanded intensity without raising his voice. In Arsenal's first pre-season friendly, he debuted in front of 60,000 fans at the Emirates. He didn't score, but the way he pulled defenders, linked play, and found Odegaard in pockets of space left the crowd in awe. The new season started with a London derby at the Emirates, Arsenal versus Chelsea. All eyes were on Bernardo. Within 15 minutes, he had assisted one and helped create another with a sublime dummy that freed Saka on the wing. Arsenal won 3-1. Pundits were quick to praise. "Bernardo's IQ changes everything," said Ian Wright. "He doesn't just play the game, he bends it." But Bernardo wasn't focused on praise, he was focused on impact. He became a mentor to the squad, often staying behind after training to work with younger midfielders.